whispers of the professor who never left, the student who vanished, or the janitor whose footsteps still echo after dark. Every college has its legends. This story is one of those legends. Welcome back, everyone, to Stories That Shouldn't Be Told. Tonight, I'll share a terrifying account of what happens when you stay late in the college halls and discover you're not the only one working. Every story is a warning. Some stains never wash away. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and share it with anyone who loves a good scare. And let me know in the comments, have you ever heard footsteps when you knew you were completely alone? Your support keeps these stories alive. Now, let's begin. I worked as a student assistant in my college's performing arts building, staying late Sunday nights to finish projects. The 1920s building had character, creaky floors, long hallways lined with faded production photos, and an old supply closet near the main entrance with a tarnished brass nameplate reading H. Matthews, Maintenance 1985, 2009. One November night, around 10 p.m., I was alone in the basement workshop when I saw a silhouette mopping in the window above. The shadow moved back and forth rhythmically, but I knew no night janitors worked weekends. 20 minutes later, heavy footsteps paced the hallway overhead, the same path repeatedly. I went upstairs for water and found the hallway completely dark and empty. No janitor, no mop bucket, floors bone dry. When I called out hello, my voice echoed back, distorted. As I passed that old supply closet, I noticed the door was slightly ajar for the first time ever. Back in the workshop, the footsteps resumed, more aggressive now. Doors slammed repeatedly. Something heavy dragged across the floor above. Then I heard the basement door creak open. Slow, deliberate footsteps descended. I hid behind set pieces as they reached the bottom, stopping outside my door. A shadow shifted under the crack. After an eternity, footsteps moved away, followed by violent sounds from storage, boxes crashing, shelves toppling. I ran upstairs and escaped, hands shaking. The secretary told me about Harold Matthews, who died 15 years ago, but old newspaper archives revealed the truth. Harold had been systematically bullied by theater professor Dr. Brennan, screamed at for minor imperfections, forced to re-clean entire floors, humiliated in front of students as worthless and stupid. The night Harold died, Brennan had screamed at him for leaving water spots on the bathroom mirrors, threatening to fire him right before Christmas. Security footage showed Harold going to the basement electrical room afterward. Official report said accident, but the footage was mysteriously corrupted. 2 weeks later, I was in the workshop when every light died. In pitch darkness, the rhythmic swish, swish, swish of a mop echoed above, growing faster and more violent. The wet, dragging sound moved back and forth frantically across the ceiling. The basement door exploded open, cracking against the wall. Footsteps thundered down, no longer careful. Wet boot prints appeared in my phone's flashlight beam, tracking toward me. The temperature plummeted. Tools flew off walls, wrenches and hammers clattering around my feet. Paint cans overturned, spilling liquid that looked like blood in the dim light. I bolted, but something grabbed my ankle. The grip was ice cold and impossibly strong, fingers like frozen steel cables. I crashed down, phone skittering away into darkness. Invisible hands dragged me backward across concrete that bit into my skin like broken glass. The air reeked of industrial bleach mixed with something rotten, choking me as I clawed desperately at the floor. Whatever held me suddenly released. Racing upstairs, I heard Harold's voice, a raspy whisper from everywhere at once. Still here, still cleaning up his mess. Dr. Brennan still worked at the college, now department head despite harassment complaints. Harold's haunting intensified around him. Students were shoved downstairs near Brennan's office. Cleaning supplies exploded in closets. Mop handles shattered, sending wooden splinters flying. During finals week, Brennan worked late when witnesses heard his office lights flickering violently through the door crack. Students gathered outside, trying the handle, locked tight. The flickering intensified, casting wild shadows under the door. Then came the screaming. Students pounded on the door as Brennan's muffled shrieks grew more desperate. Someone called security, while others tried to force the lock. The screaming continued for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. Raw, terrified sounds of someone being tormented. Security finally broke down the door to find Brennan cowering in the corner, invisible hands smearing his face with industrial cleaning chemicals. Every mirror in the office had shattered, glass covering the floor. His reflection warped and twisted in pools of murky water that covered everything, distorting his features into grotesque shapes. His awards lay destroyed beneath the broken glass. He was hospitalized with severe chemical burns. A maintenance cart appeared outside his office the next morning with Harold's old name tag and a note in what looked like dirty mop water. "My turn to inspect your work." Brennan took early retirement and fled town. The day he left, every faucet ran clear for the first time in months. The oppressive atmosphere lifted. But Harold remains. He protects the maintenance staff now. Tools appear when needed. Messes clean themselves overnight. Workers feel watched over rather than threatened. But even the staff admit, sometimes late at night, that rhythmic swish, swish, swish echoes through empty halls when no one has made a mess, when no cleaning needs to be done. The building operates normally during the day, but after hours, you might hear that distinctive swish, swish, swish moving through empty corridors, Harold's mop dragging across floors that are already spotless. Harold chooses who deserves his attention and what kind they receive. Now, every freshman is told the rule: if you're in the building after dark and hear that rhythmic swish, swish, swish echoing from empty hallways, don't look, don't investigate, just leave, because Harold Matthews is still working his shift, and he's very particular about who belongs in his building after hours, because if Harold decides you've made a mess, he'll make sure you clean it properly. And that was the end of tonight's story. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that should never be told. Your support keeps these nightmares alive, and there are always more waiting in the dark. Until next time, listen carefully, because some footsteps never dry, and once you hear them, it may already be too late.